going on, guys? Today I'm going to be bringing you a video on how to rotate the tires and change the oil in a 2024 Subaru Ascent. I assume this could be very similar to the previous years of the Ascents, but for my video specifically I'm going to be showing you the 24s. So as you can see, I already have the jack underneath the car. I'll be showing you the jack point for that. I've got my jack stands on the side, I've got my drill and my 19mm wrench for the socket wrench for the lug nuts. I've got my rear wheel chocks on the back for whenever I jack up the front. I know that this has the electronic parking brake, but safety is always a big thing. And in a few moments I'm going to be grabbing some extra tires to put underneath the car just for an added safety feature. So we are at the 6,000 mile mark, or close to it. 6,000 miles. Or 6 months, which is what we're at, just a little bit over, so it's probably not gonna show me unless I turn on the car. So there we go. So 5,700 miles, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the tires rotated first. That way we'll let the engine cool and get ready to be worked on. So I'll go ahead and show you the front jacking point. Of course, there's a plane flying over right now, but what I like to do when I'm rotating the tires is go ahead and loosen all of your lug nuts to hand tight. So, of course, showing you like this, that's what I mean by hand tight. That way when the car is jacked up in the air, you're not going to be wrenching on it hard and causing it to sway back and forth on the jack and the jack stand. So I have all the tires loosened. If we come to the front here, I'll show you the front subframe of where the jack is jacking up the car. So go ahead, get this jacked up, get our jack stands on, and I'll follow up with you guys then. All right, now we got the car jacked up. We have our jacks right here underneath the pinch weld. There's a better angle of where you can jack the front of the car up at. And there's the other side. And like I said, I like to throw a spare tire underneath just in case once these wheels are off, just for some added protection in case if, you know, your Harbor Freight jack stands happen to fail. So let's hope that doesn't happen today. Gonna go ahead and take our 19, put it on the end of our drill. And the reason why I use a drill for this is because it's very simple. Once you have these hand loose, you can go ahead and just screw these out, and that's it. The tire will come off shortly after. And so with rotating these tires, the fronts are going to go to the rear and the rears are going to crisscross. So the rear left is going to go to the front right and vice versa. So I'm going to go ahead and get these loose and removed, and then I will show you how to jack up the rear end and do the same with those tires. All right, so in order to jack up the rear end, you're gonna come back to the rear differential, which is just past the exhaust. So let me slide around and get a better angle. You just pass the exhaust and you are able to jack it up with the rear diff. We've been doing this with our other Subarus, usually every time we have to rotate the tires, and it is one of the actual jacking points for these cars. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that jacked up. Then the tires should come off very easily because we already loosened them, and we will go ahead and rotate them. And then we can start on the oil change. All right, so I have the rear tire off now, front tire. I moved the rear tire over to the front right because these are non-directional tires. I just wanted to mention that. If they are directional, you would just move the front to the rear and the rear to the front. You wouldn't have to crisscross. But as you can see, 6,000 miles, made it through its first winter. Doesn't look too bad. A little bit of growtiness, but overall, pretty happy with this car so far. Here's a better angle of the rear diff jacking point. So yeah, very simple. So literally all I'm gonna do is get the tires back on, and the tire rotation will be complete, and we can go ahead and start on the engine oil. All right, now that we have all of the wheels and tires rotated, you can make sure that you have your lug nuts on there hand tight before you drill them down. Obviously we're going to torque these at the end once the car is on a level and weighted surface. So now all we're going to do is jack up the rear end, remove the jack stands, and go ahead and start on the engine oil. Alright guys, we still have the front of the car jacked up on the jack stands. We're going to come to the front of the engine. So here you can see the oil filter and the oil fill tube right down here. So what I like to do is go ahead and loosen the oil cap, and we're going to go ahead and get a what am I thinking of? The oil fill tube. Go ahead and put that down in there, and then here's what you're going to be using. This is the OW20. This is straight from Subaru. We also have the oil filter along with the crush washer underneath. So it's very simple, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and set this to the side, get that plastic off in a second. What you're going to do is come down underneath, directly past this plastic covering, and here you're gonna find the oil pan. And so I would recommend using a 17 deep socket. Let's see if we can get that to focus. 17, and literally just put it on that bolt there. And I just loosened it before I got on here, so oil is about to be poured out. So once that comes out, everything will drain into this, and we can go ahead and put everything back on. So let me drain this, and I'll put the crush washer on. We'll get this finished. All right, just a forewarning, this will shoot out extremely fast, but I ended up catching it all. Had a little bit of a spill, but it's always handy to keep some shop rags around. So while that's finishing up draining, here we have the drain plug, and there is a small crush washer on there. So go ahead and get this cleaned up and get the new one put on. So go ahead and take this, and we can come up here and also loosen our oil filter, which these should be only on here hand tight, but I do have a tool that will get that loose. So once I get that, we'll finish this up. So I was right, the oil filter from the factory was on there pretty tight. So all you need to do is get a oil filter wrench. Got this one from the local Harbor Freight. Came off just fine. As you can see, it kind of dug in there, but since this is an old filter, I'm not worried about it. If you slowly lift this off, unscrew it and lift it, there's not too much oil that comes out, so go ahead and get that over here. And then what I like to do is just put some new oil around the seal here, and we'll go ahead and put that back on. I will clean this up a little bit because it looks like some of the debris from where I yanked on this to pull it off fell in there, so I'm definitely going to clean that up. And as you can see here, here's our drain plug bolt. The orientation for the crush washer, you want to put the flat side toward the bolt head, and then the rounded side is going to go towards the oil pan. So all you do, slide it on there like that, and once we get underneath, just going to go ahead and tighten it back up to 29 foot-pounds, and that should do it. And we will go ahead and pour our oil in, 4.8 quarts. All right, as you can see, we have our oil drain plug bolt back up in there, torqued down to 29 foot-pounds. We have our new oil filter on here, just a little bit past hand tight, because once this expands, it might, or once it heats up, it might expand and be hard to get off. And now we have our funnel on here. So we're gonna go ahead and fill this up. Like I said, 4.8 quarts, and that should do it. I will show you guys how to reset the oil maintenance light inside the car, as well as the tire rotations, and that should be it. All right, now we got the oil filter and the oil fill tube cap back on there. Everything is set up, so we're gonna go ahead and come to the vehicle. If you have the My Subaru subscription app, you can go in there and adjust the settings, but you can come to the car info, go to the maintenance, and you can set up when you want to put your tires, oil filter, and engine oil on here. So I think today's April, so I'll go ahead and put this on here in just a second. But for now, that's how you can get to your maintenance. So go ahead and start this up. And we're gonna let this idle for a few minutes and check for any type of leaks under the car or in the engine bay. So far so good. So the last thing you're going to want to do is obviously torque down your tires. That wheel torque is going to be 89 foot-pounds. So go ahead and get that put back on with your 19-inch, and that's literally it. That's how you do it. Thanks for watching.